Hello, Conceal Coalition. Quick question. How well do you know your neighbors? You know, if you watched our Conceal Coalition episode on family safety, we spent a lot of time talking about finding out if your neighbors were helpful, harmful, or somewhere in between. The reason I want to bring this topic up is because of something that happened to me about 2 weeks ago. As you may or may not be aware of, I'm a police officer and I try very hard to keep my patrol life very separate from my Concealed Coalition family life. But this is something that has to cross over. I was assigned to be in a multi-agency task force, and our goal was to go ahead and assemble officers from all over the state, come down and swarm one particular county in my state and visit every registered sexual offender in that county in one big task group. What was really interesting, though, is as we would show up to check on these registered sexual offenders, some of them were not home. And we would go visit the neighbors to make sure they were in compliance and there was nothing that was outside their bounds of being released on this provision. What was interesting was when some neighbors found out that, oh my gosh, there's a registered sexual offender living next to me, I did not know. What I found really scary about that is this is publicly available information. And I think it's well worth knowing if somebody is a registered sexual offender that lives near you, next to you, or down the street, or in any way connected with your lifestyle. Now, am I saying that all registered sexual offenders pose a threat to you and your family? No. But as I can tell you, firsthand experience, as I looked through these files as we visited these people, it was amazing as you found out some of the details and some of the absolute depravity of the activities they were involved in. And not to know this would just be a lapse that we can't have in our Concealed Coalition family. So the moral of the story is twofold. One, please support your law enforcement who goes and does this kind of potentially dangerous and disgusting work all the time. But number two, learn more about your neighbors. And remember, just because someone has not been caught, convicted, and is now on a registered sexual offender list does not mean they're not a threat. But this is some boundary that some people have crossed over that we, as Concealed Coalition family members, need to be aware of to keep ourselves and our families a lot safer. The biggest shock too was as I looked through this, a lot of people seem to think that, oh my, these are all child sexual offenders. No, many of them had adult victims with abduction, days involved. These are some seriously threats that you need to consider and focus in on. And until then, remember always, be a guardian always, and a warrior when you need to.